Have you ever noticed that some people seem to attract prosperity effortlessly while you work, plan, dedicate yourself, and yet still feel like something is holding you back? It's not a lack of intelligence. It's not laziness. It's not because you don't know what to do. It's because there's an invisible layer inside you that doesn't yet feel safe enough to receive. And while that part of you is on alert, in doubt, in fear, the money may even appear, but it doesn't stay. It slips away. It disappears in ways you can't even explain. Perhaps you've experienced this before. An opportunity that disappears at the last minute. Money that comes in and then has to go out. A feeling that you're always starting over, never truly growing. And then comes that unspoken question, which you might not even admit out loud. Do I really deserve to prosper? You deserve it, but deserving it on its own is not enough. Because the truth is that prosperity doesn't come from how much you struggle. It comes from how much you allow yourself to rest in the certainty that you are ready to receive. And if you're not yet receiving the benefits you desire, it's not because you're incapable. It's because deep down, a part of you still thinks it's dangerous to have more. It's dangerous to change. It's dangerous to stand out. It's dangerous to be seen as someone who has. And as long as you carry that fear as truth, prosperity will continue to be something you pursue but never truly achieve. You don't need more action. You need more security. Security to be who you truly can become. Security to receive without guilt. Security to thrive without fear of losing everything again. And it starts now. Block 1. 321 words. 2 min-30s. Block 2. The invisible block to prosperity. There's a type of block that nobody sees, not even you. It doesn't show up in your bank account. It doesn't show up on your resume. It doesn't show up in your goals. It shows up in your reactions. When someone compliments you, and you look away. When an opportunity arises, and you feel you're not ready. When the money comes in, and you already feel guilty about spending it. When you grow up, and feel like you're drifting away from who you used to be. This blockage isn't conscious. It was built silently over the years by phrases you heard, experiences you lived through, fears you inherited. Perhaps you grew up hearing that money doesn't buy happiness, that rich people are selfish, that humility is living with little, that those who have a lot forget where they came from. And even if you don't rationally believe it today, emotionally, those beliefs are still active. They create an invisible resistance. Part of you wants to thrive. Another part is afraid of what comes with it. Fear of being judged. Fear of losing the one you love. Fear of changing and no longer recognizing yourself. Fear of having and losing everything again. And then you do something very subtle. You sabotage. Not on purpose, not because you want to, but because, subconsciously, sabotaging seems safer than risking having and losing. You postpone decisions. You accept less than you deserve. You give up before you really try. You keep prosperity at a safe distance, because deep down, you still don't feel secure enough to truly have it. And until that changes, you'll remain trapped in this cycle, working hard, deserving a lot, but receiving little. Not because you're incapable, but because you haven't given yourself permission yet. Permission to occupy this space. Permission to have more without guilt. Permission to thrive without needing to justify it. And this permission, it doesn't come from the outside. It comes from within. Block 2, 363 words. 2 min-50s. Block 3, the change of identity. Prosperity isn't about doing more. It's about becoming someone who already feels prosperous, even before having everything you desire. Because the truth is this, you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. And if you still see yourself as someone who needs to fight, force, prove, you will continue to attract situations that demand that of you. But when you start to see yourself as someone who already deserves it, who is already ready, who is already worthy of receiving it, everything changes. Opportunities change, people change, money changes. Not because the world has changed, but because you have changed. And this change doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't have to be fast. It doesn't have to be perfect. It needs to be real enough for you to stop sabotaging yourself, real enough for you to accept the compliment, real enough for you to say yes to what you deserve, even if a part of you is still afraid. Because fear won't disappear overnight, but it can stop controlling your choices. You can feel fear and still choose to receive. You can feel insecure and still choose to grow. You can feel guilty and still choose to thrive. Because prosperity isn't about eliminating everything that's uncomfortable. It's about not letting discomfort stop you from living the life you truly want. And that starts when you stop waiting to be 100% ready, when you stop waiting to be sure, when you stop waiting for someone to give you permission. You already have permission. You always have. The only thing missing is for you to truly believe in it. And believing doesn't mean repeating affirmations. Believing means acting like someone who already knows they deserve it. Seize the opportunity. Charge what it's worth. Occupy the space. Receive without guilt. And every time you do that, you're not just getting money. You're changing your identity. You are becoming someone who thrives, not because you were lucky, but because you chose to see yourself differently. And when you change who you are on the inside, the world around you has no choice. It reflects that back to you. Block 3, 401 words. 3 min 10s. Block 4, permission to receive. Now I want you to take a deep breath. And as you breathe, I want you to allow one thing, to feel that you are already able to receive. Not tomorrow, not when you're more prepared, not when you do more. Now. Because the truth is, you've already done enough. You've worked hard enough. You've fought hard enough. You've proven yourself enough. And if you're still not getting what you deserve, it's not because you need to do more. It's because you haven't yet given yourself permission to stop proving yourself. Permission to receive without guilt. Permission to thrive without fear. Permission to have more without having to justify why you deserve it. And I know this isn't easy, because you were taught that everything needs to be earned through effort. That if it's easy, it has no value. That if you haven't suffered, you don't deserve it. But that's a lie. You deserve prosperity simply because you exist, simply because you are here, breathing, trying, growing. You don't need to be perfect to deserve it. You don't need to have everything figured out. You don't need to be the best. You just need to be willing to receive. And receiving is an act of courage, because it means accepting that you are worthy. It means accepting that you can have more without losing who you are. It means accepting that prosperity doesn't distance you from the people who truly love you. It means trusting. Trust that you will know how to handle whatever comes. Trust that you won't get lost. Trust that you can grow and still remain yourself. And every time you choose to trust, you create space. Space for opportunities you didn't even know existed. Space for people who will truly support you. Space for money that comes in ways you never imagined. Because prosperity doesn't come from forcing. It comes from allowing. And allowing is not being passive. It's being wise. It's knowing that you don't need to control everything, that you don't need to know the whole path, that you don't need to have all the answers. You just need to take the next step and trust that the rest will fall into place. Block 4, 406 words. 3 min to 10s. Block 5. Silent integration. True prosperity doesn't shout. It doesn't need to. She is silent. She is calm. She is constant. She doesn't arrive overnight. But when she does, she stays. And she stays because you've changed inside. Because you've stopped being someone who chases and become someone who receives. You don't need to force it anymore. You don't need to prove it anymore. You don't need to fight against yourself anymore. You just need to keep choosing security. Security to be who you truly are. Security to occupy the space that is rightfully yours. Security to thrive without fear of losing everything again. And every time you choose that, you're not just changing your life, you're changing your lineage. You are breaking patterns that came before you. You are showing the people around you that it is possible to thrive without losing peace. You are creating a new path. And this path doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be yours. Because prosperity isn't about arriving somewhere. It's about who you become in the process. And you're already becoming that. Every time you choose to believe in yourself, every time you choose to receive without guilt, every time you choose to thrive without fear, you're already changing. And this change, it's permanent. Because you're not just learning to have more, you're learning to be more confident, more secure, more whole. And when you are that, prosperity has no choice. It comes to you. Not because you forced it, but because you finally allowed yourself to. And this permission, it's yours forever.